I'm Molly Steffi with Time.com. We're here with Viggo Mortensen, who's in town promoting his new film, Good. Viggo, thank you so much for joining us. We'll start with our first question. Janice Garardi in Newburgh, New York wants to know, how do you think you've dealt with fame in the past 10 years? Do you think you would have been able to handle such attention in your early 20s?
I don't know. Maybe, I think probably what would have happened is I would have got tired of the whole circus. Now, you know, I've had a chance over the years to learn how to do the job, make mistakes on film, but in roles that not so many people saw. And by the time I got attention and the others in Lord of the Rings got all that attention, I don't know if I was ready for it, but I understood that, well, you know, that's fine, all the attention, but then the next job you're going to have to work at it. And I also have had a lot of good experiences. There's not very many actors that can make a living for years, as I have. So if it all ends right now, I'm fine.
From Ariel Davis in New York City, who writes, you've explored poetry, painting, photography, and music in addition to acting. Which art form is your favorite?
You know, I don't really separate them. They're all the same thing. You know, I don't think children separate different artistic, they don't separate themselves either. They don't say, as adults do, well, there are artists and then there are other people. Kids, if they want to draw, they draw. If they want to sing, they sing. They want to pretend they're the Lone Ranger or Aragorn or an elf or a monster. They just do it. They don't think about it. It's only adults that make that distinction, and I think that everybody, even when they grow up, is an artist. It's just a way of living, being an artist, and that's why I don't separate different artistic endeavors. It just has to do with paying attention, you know, remembering, filtering what you see, and answering back, participating in life.
This next question comes from Frank Pinacini in Bayside, New York. Viggo, many of your films deal with a significant amount of brutality, like your recent movie Eastern Promises. What's it like exploring characters with that level of unhinged violence?
Well, a lot of times the violence expressed on screen is a metaphor for, as he says, what's going on inside. It has to do with things other than the actual violence. But I take it seriously, and I respect directors who, if you're going to depict violence, who do it responsibly. They don't dress it up, they don't make it look like some beautiful choreographed dance. It's brutal, and it has serious consequences. It's not a game, you know, really. Even though it's make-believe, it's not really, it's not funny to me, violence. And there are a lot of directors who are very talented who kind of make too much of a joke out of it sometimes, or too much of a stylized exercise that removes it, you know. It's too easy. It lets the audience off the hook. I like movies that pull me in, movies that I believe, movies that when they end, I wonder what's going to happen next, where there's something to talk about.
Well, and one of your more famous fight scenes is from Eastern Promises. It's in the bathhouse. So how would you describe what it was like filming that and how you think it turned out?
It was painful.
Was it?
And you know, once we got going, it wasn't really about being embarrassed or any of that. It was just, let's make it work and hopefully nobody gets hurt too much. And I really was being thrown around, and it was painful, and I knew it would be. And I just figured the sooner it's over with, the better.
So this question is from Krakow, Poland. I noticed that some people follow you around the world, attending your screenings and exhibitions. What's it like getting that kind of attention? Is it flattering or unnerving?
Both. You know, it depends, you know. I'm flattered that there will be people from Germany and Japan that will show up when I have a photo exhibition in Iceland, or a movie premiere in Spain or Canada or wherever. Yeah, of course it's flattering, but sometimes I worry about it. I say, well, you guys could have waited till a movie came out in Japan. Every once in a while there'll be a person who steps over the line, though, in a way where they assume that I'm only speaking to them. Even some people that take it a step further and assume that I'm in a relationship with them and are writing letters about it. And that's, I worry about them, and sometimes I worry about myself in those situations, you know, so it's a mix.
This is from Ruth Savoy in Lady Lake, Florida. You once said that a person should embrace their heritage. In light of this and your new movie Good, what advice would you give to someone born during that era in Germany?
Germans are people too. I don't remember saying that you should embrace your heritage. I'm not saying it's not true or that I didn't say it, but I think it's a good thing. You know, it's part of who you are. Where did you come from? The character I play, this professor, he's particularly fond of Proust, the writer, and he's teaching that in one scene in class. And he said something that I think is really true. He said that wisdom is not something that one receives. It is something that one discovers for oneself on a journey that no one can take for us and no one can spare us. And I think that's pretty good. Life is a game that keeps moving. You know, even as you're playing it, the rules change all the time, and you got to be flexible.